Tonight on the 31 Nights of Halloween Horror, MaXXXine is determined to be a star, and nothing is going to stand in her way. Not some sleazy private eye, not some meddling police officers, and definitely not some sadistic killer. Tonight's movie, MaXXXine.
Hello everybody and welcome to another year of the 31 Nights of Halloween Horror! All hope is lost. Yes, all hope is lost. And tonight we begin the 14th year of this horror journey. That's right, 14 years. I've done this 14 years, man. I have wasted my life. Holy shit. Oh my god. Anyways, but before we get to tonight's movie review, I thought I would talk to you, my audience, about something, about the power of movies, especially in my life. And I don't know if you've been paying attention to my channel for like the last several months, for the past year, really. Things have this year not really gone the way that I would have hoped things would have gone, and there have been some things in my life that have really driven me into dark places, and I've been pretty depressed for a while, and I've actually thought really long and hard about whether or not I even was going to do this year. But thinking about it, movies have this power to transport you to a different world, a different reality, a different life, a different experience. They can distract you from your troubles and your worries. They can take you out of the darkness that you're in and take you someplace else. And, for, an hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever, you are no longer, thinking about the thing that really is hurting you. You're not in the doldrums. You are focused on what's going on the screen. And you are living vicariously through characters that you relate to, that you've latched onto. And so over my life, I've had several periods of time that have been really tough for me, and movies have always been there to help me through that. And this is not going to be an exception. This time movies are going to help me again. And so I like not just watching movies but also discussing movies, and unfortunately I don't really have a lot of people that I can discuss movies with, because a bunch of my friends aren't really big movie people. Other ones that do, there's always life and schedules and stuff make it hard to always have time to do that sort of thing. And I would always love to find someone or a group of people to have, like, let's say video vlogs or podcasts or whatever you want to call it, talking about movies, because that's something I'm passionate about, and I love to hear and have the interactions. And unfortunately, like I said, I just don't have the connections. I don't have the willing participants. And so I have to deal with the captive audience. And it's not really captive, because you guys can just click off whenever you want. But I do thank you and appreciate all of you who have joined me on these movie journeys through these years. Whether it's, 2 or 3 people or 100 people, I'm very appreciative, and I'm hopeful that this will continue to help heal me and keep the darkness at bay, but also to entertain and inspire you out there to check out some of these movies and view them for yourself and see the good, the bad, the awesome, and the ugly that is cinema. So, let's get into it. So, tonight's movie is the movie MaXXXine. Yes, MaXXXine. Capital M, lowercase a, capital X, capital X, capital X, lowercase I, lowercase n, lowercase e. MaXXXine, the third installment in the X trilogy, which is the movie X, Pearl, and MaXXXine. And maybe it won't be a trilogy, things can happen in the future. But as of right now, third installment, final installment in the X trilogy. So what is MaXXXine about? Well, it is about the titular character, MaXXXine, who is working in the adult entertainment industry in the 1980s in Los Angeles and Hollywood. And she has finally got her big break. So see, MaXXXine's goal is to become famous, to become a star, have everyone know her name, and just be shining bright in front of everyone. And this might be it. She has landed the coveted role on the sequel to a very popular horror movie, and she believes that this is her catapult to the big time. However, things are getting a little complicated. There's a seedy private detective, who has information about her past that may be, not just embarrassing, but perhaps kind of litigious. And he has been sort of trying to blackmail her into meeting up with his client, who is not named and not shown for most of the movie. So while she's trying to deal with that, she's also dealing with the fact that during this time period, there's this sort of infamous serial killings going on, committed by the Night Stalker. And when some of her friends and acquaintances start showing up dead and with satanic scrawlings on their bodies, the police start to think that she might either be involved or know something about this. So not only does she have to navigate the police, the private detective, and perhaps a very shadowy figure that may want her dead, as well as, play this part and get her goal of becoming a star, will MaXXXine be able to navigate through all of this treacherous scenarios, I guess you would call it? Or will she end up being just another forgotten name in all of the Hollywood hustle and bustle, relegated to the crime section of the newspaper? Well, you would have to find out by watching the movie, but I will give you those scores. So shall we. Violence and gore. I am going to give this a solid 4 out of 5. I do love me a good head explosion. And this movie does have quite a bit of blood in it. There is a signature kill that is rather awesome in this film, and it is quite brutal. And there are a few other bloody chunks here and there, but not overally just like wall-to-wall splatter. So 4 out of 5. Moving on to shock value, I'm going to give this a 2 out of 5. There are some really interesting moments in this movie. One signature kill is great. The thing that happens in the junkyard with the detective is also nice and interesting. And so I'm going to give there some solid. Also, the way the ending just kind of goes, takes a left turn and ends up in another state. Not literally another state, but another state of mind. Like whoa. So a solid 2 out of 5 for shock value. Moving on to plot, I'm going to give this a 3 out of 5. Look, it would have been a 5 out of 5 because I really love the fact that this movie is really giallo-esque. I mean, you've got the dark figure with the black gloves and trench coat and the hat and the shadows. You can't see their face. And the way that signature kill was really, really like straight out of an Italian giallo. It was really great. However, and I also like the multiple like storylines interwoven with the police trying to get her to talk and be cooperative, the the private detective and his dealings with the thing, all the while also getting a little inside baseball on the movie industry. Very interesting seeing some of that stuff too. So it's a solid plot. The problem is, and I'm deducting big time points, like 2 point deduction, is that the puppet master, the one behind all of this, is so obvious, and it is just given away really at the beginning of the movie. And it is just it is a shame, because I think it probably would have had more impact and a little bit more shock if they really played this a lot closer to the chest. But really, they just sort of just gave it away, and it became just kind of like, oh, okay, here. But now, of course, the left turn at the end kind of helps make up for it a little bit, but not enough to bump the score up past 3. Which is a shame. It's a real darn shame, because this is a really great movie. It's just, oh man, they really could have handled that a lot better. So 3 out of 5 for plot. Moving on to acting, I'm going to give this an awesome 4 out of 5. Look, Mia Goth, she brings it. Probably not as good a performance as she did in Pearl, but that was just amazing, phenomenal, like out of body type acting experience. But she did really well. The detective, played by Kevin Bacon, is really good. He does a really great job being that sleazeball kind of private detective. Enjoyed his character. We get brief moments of, Giancarlo Esposito as Maxine's agent. And a lot of solid acting around. The problem is some of the other characters, some of the more minor characters, the police officers, are a little not that strong, but overall very solid. 4 out of 5. Nothing to be not proud of. It's pretty damn good, especially in a horror movie. So 4 out of 5. Moving on to Nudity, and this is a 1.5 out of 5. Very brief amounts here and there. Nothing really long lasting. I would say definitely more so than what was in Pearl, but not as much as in X. And if you remember my X review, the same kind of thing is gonna be like said about this movie, and it's kind of about like tone and the time period which this was set, and the same problem this movie has, that X has, when it comes to this sort of exploitative element, and is that it feels like they really just pulled their punches when it came to this type of content. Because look, you're dealing with the adult movie industry in this film. I mean, she's working in it. Her friends are in it. The victims of these crimes are somewhat connected to that stuff. You're in the seedy side of Los Angeles and Hollywood and stuff like that. To have it be as tame as it is, I think is kind of a betrayal of what you're sort of paying homage to. And this whole thing about like this is an 80s type of movie, and the 80s horror aesthetic is like blood, breasts, and beast. That's like the kind of the 3 B's. And it feels like we're paying homage, but we're also kind of modern audience type thing, which I find to be disappointing for me. I mean, look, I am a single man, sadly, despite my best efforts to try not to be, I am still a single man. So I do love breasts. Actually, my 3Bs are... I shouldn't, but I guess I will. Breasts, booty, butt, and bush. Anyway, nowadays, dude, that third one's probably very rare. Anyways, but anyway. Okay, wow. So anyways, but still. And the thing is, like even with X, you know, you got this sleazy 70s porn type of thing, and yet it was very tame. It felt very tame. And the same with this, is it felt somewhat sanitized, and really, you know, this is the type of movie, if that's kind of like, you know, what you're going for, you're embracing that sort of gritty 80s horror aesthetic, you really need to like lean into it more. And so honestly, it's kind of a stylish style choice in a way. So that's why I'm really talking about it, because, you know, a lot of times I'll just be like, there's nothing much going on there. There's not really a bunch of opportunity, you know, and then I move on. But with something like this, it does bother me, because, like, if I was director, I would be leaning into all of these elements, not just, you know, leaning into the violence and the 80s aesthetic when it comes to location and costumes and stuff like this. No, I even get into that seedy underbelly of Los Angeles back then. So, you know, it's noticeable and disappointing. And a perfect case example is really early in the movie. She's nailing her I guess, what is it? I lose the, like, not rehearsal, like, whatever, her reading. She's reading for the part, audition, and she's nailed it. And, you know, the producer are like, oh yeah, one last thing, show us your tits. And she lifts up her shirt and shows her tits. But the audience, we don't see that. And look, you might think it like, big deal, whatever, and stuff. But the thing is, that is like... that just shows how, like, they're not willing to do it, and how, like, weak it is on this. Because look, that was one of the things. You wanted to be in a horror movie in the 80s for the most part, and you were a woman, you had to show your tits. And the fact that they shielded her, which, you know, is weird, because I know she's a bigger star now, but, like, you know, it's not like we haven't seen them in a movie in this same trilogy. We've seen them in X. So it's, you know, and there is a scene, you know, from the archival footage from X in this movie showing her tits. So it's weird. It comes off weird, and it comes off strange, and it takes me out of the movie a little bit. So anyways, a big rant about this. But yeah, I think, in a way, a lot of people say, you know, nudity is not an important thing, and that it is not, you know, relevant to the plot. And I understand those arguments, and I understand when they are not relevant to the plot, and they're not relevant to, you know, what's going on. But there is a time, like, so for instance, if you have a scene at a Roman orgy, and everyone's fully clothed and there's not much sex going on, your scene is bad. It is, because there's a context through the actual scene. There's a context of what's happening and what's in the movie and what the tone of the movie is and what kind of movie it is. And so, yeah, if you have like a gladiator movie and there's no blood and no one dies and there's no sword fighting, it's also a bad movie, because there's that context. So anyways, I spent like way too much time on this one. So let's move on. 1.5 out of 5 disappointing. Whatever. Moving on to enjoyment factor. Look, aside for all that other things, I'm giving this a solid 4.5 out of 5. It is definitely my favorite of the 3 movies. And I just love the fact that it hits this giallo vibe a lot. I love the crazy left field ending that went on, where we're just going, oh my god, what the hell is happening? So, and it was very enjoyable. a little bit of a slow burn at the beginning, but because, you know, I love movies, I love horror movies, I want to make movies, and, you know, maybe even act, I don't know. Anyways, seeing that side also kind of was very intriguing to me. So I was really entertained. I loved it, and I watch it many times, and if it comes out on 4K, I will buy the 4K, but my God, I don't know what the hell's going on with. Maybe they're going to be like a 3-piece 4Ks. I don't know. Whatever. Physical media. What is happening? Barbarian came out how long ago? And I don't think there is even a physical version in the United States for it yet. I don't know. Anyways, that aside. 4.5 out of 5. And then my overall impression is a 4 out of 5. This movie is very well made. If it weren't for a few things here, there, and there, it would probably be one of those rare 5 out of 5s, but it just falls a little short. You know, just, you know, being a little bit too upfront about the mastermind of everything, all that stuff brings it down, but still very solid 4 out of 5, and that averages out to a 3.3 out of 5, which is very good. So there you have it, MaXXXine. Please tell me in the comments section below if you have seen the movie. Do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me? Do you think I went too much explaining the nudity score? I don't know. I mean, you know what? I'm a man. Whatever. Call me a perv. Whatever. I like tits. I love boobs. I love boobies. Boobies. I don't even know what like. Can you believe it, ladies? Can you believe that I'm single? I mean, why? Nobody wants any of this. Come on, like, you know, come on, girls. I mean, I wonder. I've always wondered. You know, is there a woman out there who is like, you know what? Well, I would really like someone to motorboat me right now. I don't think that woman exists, but if she does, leave a comment. I will meet you. Anyways, all right. Enough of this. Anyways, so anyway, leave a comment, all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. Good stuff. Yada. Comment, rate, subscribe, ring the bell for the notifications, all that stuff. I don't know. Nobody's watching. See, this is perfect. I can talk about the boobies because no one's watching. No one's made it through here. It's like, what, 20 minutes in here, maybe even longer. So no one's even paying attention to this shit. I could just say whatever the fuck I want. It don't even matter. Excelsior! Those who know. Anyways, so, thank you for watching another episode of the 31 Nights of Halloween Horror, and I will promise try to make these not as long, though I did have that little thing about the movies in the beginning, you know, whatever. Anyways, so, thank you for watching another episode of the 31 Nights of Halloween Horror, and remember to stay scary, Internet, and I will see you next time, and remember, always remember, if you're alone at a small little store and you're closed, like literally, like lock the doors. First of all, lock the doors. Anyways, the thing, I've seen too many movies. The guy comes in, you're like, I'm sorry, we're closed. You're not even paying attention. You're just like, oh, we're closed, you know, and they ignore you. You know, that's when you go under the cabinet and grab the shotgun and go, hey, no, we're fucking closed. Okay? Because no good shit's gonna happen. No good shit. It's either you're getting raided or you're dead. In a horribly violent way. Whatever. Anyways, just, you know, little PSA for you guys. Alright? So, when you're closed, lock those doors. Don't let other people in. You know, they might look like nice lady across the street. Whatever. You know. Just don't. Plus, you're closed. Whatever. You know, you're closed. People, read. Respect the hours, right? Come on. You're not more important than other people. Everyone's equally important until they're not. I don't know. Anyways, yeah.